February 27th. I decided not to sleep on the mat tonight. Last night. And the dream that I had was a little more vivid. It felt a little more vivid. Maybe I'll try it again tonight. But there's this feeling that I'm working. There's this feeling I'm working. I could feel my dad's energy there. Working, just working. And my uncle's energy. Just men, like there's just this there's just this feeling of men and work, and that's what I'm doing. There's this traditional feel to it, and I'm like, like the way it used to be, where I'm the images that they would see, even in some TV shows where they redo the 50s and this men going to work feel, like the on the street, and there's all these men, right? Like you don't really see like that was the feeling. Although there weren't a lot of, there was just this feeling of men going to work. So the energy of my dad's there, the energy of my uncle, like, and I'm like getting ready to like get a ride from public transportation to, but there's this feeling like I'm going to work. And then it shifts. And I'm surrounded by women. There's this feeling like I'm surrounded by women. Energy-wise, just women. And it's a baby shower. We're at a park. I just recognized my mom. My mom's there. And the only reason why I know my mom's there is because she gets upset at me. She makes a comment because I have babies. I have babies. I have 3 babies. And there's this feeling like they're newborns. And there's 3 of them. And I need to feed them, but I want to do it privately. And that's what she calls out to me. Like she tries to make me feel bad. Oh, do it out here. No, I want to be. There was this feeling of like I want to do this part of my life private. There was that feeling like I want to do this part of my life privately. Like not in the public eye. that was the feeling that I had. I'm like, this part of my life, I want it private. And so it bothered me that she said that, but I didn't care. I was like, so I went into the car because we were in the park. So I went into the car, and I there's two friends that, they're childhood friends. I don't talk to them much at all, really, now. They're the kind of friends where if we would catch up. It might be a little awkward because it's been a while, but there's enough of a history that it's we grew up together, so there's an element of like comfort. But both of them, the thing they have in common is that they're both very private people. They're both very private people. That was the thing they had in common. One is so private that she's MIA sometimes. I don't know where she is. Sometimes rarely, because she's living her life, and I know she's living her life. But every once in a while, I just want to check in, make sure she's okay. Because I just want to make sure she's okay. If she doesn't reply, some of us, like me and maybe we're like, she's still alive, she's okay. Like we just send us a smoke signal just to make sure you're okay. We don't want to call like her, because we usually get hold of her through her husband. We're like, hey, we just want to make sure she's okay. Oh yeah, she's just very forgetful. But she's a very, she doesn't have social media. She's a very private person. Like we're my B and I are one of the lucky few that get pictures of her kids. Because she doesn't post anything. She doesn't have anything social media wise. Like truly hardcore, nothing. And so there was this element of like, I just knew this part of my life, I wanted it private. So I got into the car and I was worried because I was worried that I had forgotten to feed them because I was so busy. And I was trying to figure out how to feed them. And one of them was a preemie, or it was the smallest of the three, and that's the one I was most worried about. That I had forgotten to feed them. It's always been one of my fears about having children. That because there was always this knowing that work was for me, like that was just something I always knew, that I was always going to be working. Like I couldn't feel me without working. So that was always something I struggled with, just how I would balance both, how I would balance both, because work for me was like there was always this feeling like that's where I need to be, in work, at work. And I've always felt torn, because like how could I balance being a mother when I always knew I wanted to always be at work. That was always a fear of mine. That I would suck at trying to, like, and then it didn't help that I didn't trust my partner. I didn't trust my partner with the kid. Like, I didn't trust him because it just, like, it always, it just, I didn't trust him. I didn't trust him. And so, when we would have the kids over, I did everything. Like, I did everything. I was always one step ahead planning in order to be. It was exhausting. It was exhausting to. I mean, fortunately, when I had the kids over for like weeks at a time, it was during summer, and I would make sure I'd be off, but it was still me. It was like there was no, like, he would help, but I was like, I always had to tell him what to do. And it was just me, the home support. Like, I don't trust you. I don't trust you. I can't trust you. So I was feared. That was just also the control part of me playing in, I think. But that's always been a fear of mine. It's just how am I gonna balance that? What people say they have a maternal instinct, maybe? I don't know. But there was always that conflict, the gender role conflict of like, how like, for me it was either I had to do one or the other, but now I can't do both. Like, I always struggled with that, is I didn't want to half-ass it. I didn't be, I don't like doing that, like, where I'm split. So I was worried that I had missed feeding them. And they were newborns, so that freaked me out even more, because the newborns, you're supposed to feed them like every few hours. So I went in the car, and they were there, and I was trying to figure out how to feed them. And then somehow the car transformed, or I walked. I don't remember, but it felt like it transformed, but at the same time it felt like I walked to a home, like inside the home. And in this home, and my cousin's there. She's my cousin, the one who's half Asian, she's there. She has 6 kids. She's an only child. She has 6 kids. She always complained when she was little that she didn't have siblings, and she grew up with us. I mean, we had a lot of people at her house, but she grew up with us, and I remember she always complained that she was just by herself all the time. And she ended up with 6 kids. She didn't even plan. Pobrecita. Only the first 2, like, were. I don't remember if they were also surprise babies, but she was good with just the 2 girls. She was. I called her Fertile Myrtle because she just. I mean, she was on the strongest birth control. She just got pregnant so quick. And I remember with the twins. At the end, she was devastated. She's just like, how is this happening? And I mean, she loved her twins. I helped plan her baby shower, but Bodhizita, she's just like, she got pissed at the doctors because they're like, she tried to tell her too. She's just like, from after the second girl, you're so young. She's like, I know what I know. And they didn't listen to her. They thought she was too young. And she's just like, no. And she was pissed, I remember. Afterwards, she's like, I mean, she loves all her kids. I mean, her kids are her world. But that was funny. But so the kids are there, like it's a full house. That's what it feels like it's a full house. I don't know whose house it is, but they're there in different parts of the room. So I finally find a room, and my friends are still there with me, the ones that are really private. And I'm looking at my boob because there's this feeling of like I hope they work because there was this feeling of like I hope they work because I'm old. Like I felt older, and I focused on the little one first, the one that wasn't moving as much. So I met him, and I think he was okay. After I fed him, he was okay. He was more active, and the funny thing is that as I had them as babies, but then as I fed them, they turned into puppies. And so the little one that I fed first, I put him down, but then that's when he turns into a puppy, and then he's just like so like just I could feel he was happy. He was happy. And he's just like running around. I'm like, okay, like for me thinking like I just fed you. I want to make sure like, you know, and because I like puppies, right? So I'm like trying to put the pads so they don't pee everywhere. And I'm feeding each of them. But that was the one that I was more worried about because he wasn't moving. But once I fed him, he was fine. He was more I think out of the three, he was the one that was the most active. And then the second one I fed, and for each time I was worried that I wouldn't be able to have enough, but there was enough, and the second one was fine. I think out of the three, he was the one that was like, because they each had their own personality. The last one was funny because so but he was the biggest one out of the three, and he was also the laziest one because I would try to feed him with the nipple, right? he would go like he would want me to stick it in. Like the other two, like once they knew what it was, like they just latched on, right? But this baby, he was so lazy. Where it was just like just so comfortable, and then he just like like expected me to put my boob like you know. And then he would suck on it, and then I pull it out just to play with him, and then he opens his mouth like, please feed me more. And I remember calling calling my friend. I'm like, look what he's doing. But then they were fine. But there was that feeling. I'm like, this part of my life, I want it to be private. I want that part of my life to be private. But that's, oh gosh, the conflicting gender roles. Because for me, it just work. It's always, like, for me, it's work. Like, that's where I feel more aligned. And it makes sense, because my North Node is in the 10th house. Now that I know that it's on my birth chart, I'm like, okay. You know, there's this feeling of, like, because I remember thinking, like, why? You know, like, just the way, you know, society trains us to look at our roles. And just really struggling with the idea of being home because for me, I felt better when I was at work, and 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 so that's why the idea of a family, like, it was never something I really entertained. And that's one of the reasons why I didn't want to get married too, was because I didn't fit the mold, you know, like the traditional mold, the expectations from society, right? And I was conflicted with that, like, how could I, like, I was worried because I gave everything to work, like that. I always gave like 110% to work. And just the idea of having to also put energy at home, it was overwhelming for me. Not that I didn't want to, because I enjoyed having the kids. Like, I did it so I could see, like, and it's a lot of work. It totally is a lot of work, like planning, and I was always like making sure they were active, and you know, making sure that everything, you know, they weren't too stuck on the TV, that we had playtime, that we played games and the rules, and we had, I remember when the kids would come over, I'm like, all right, we're gonna just talk about rules, right? Because we're gonna cohabitate for a week or 2 weeks, and then thinking about food and dinner and like every, like, I mean, being a parent at home is like a hard job. It's a 24/7 job. It's hard work. So I know what it feels like. I have a taste of it. That's all I needed, right? Was a taste to understand. And then when we helped raise the twins, right, I got a flavor of that, like babies, right? So I've interacted with them, and they've had them over my house at all different ages. But that was always one of my fears. It's just, how can I be a mother when I know that my place is in the workforce? And I always struggled with that. Societal's expectations, gender roles. Because I felt, like I said, I always felt a little more masculine energy within me. But I was happy with my babies. Once I fed them, once I knew I still worked too, because I was worried, like, that my boob was not gonna work. But there was this element of, like, I want this part of my life to be private. Just to be private. Like, I don't know who the dad is. Like, I'm like, it was just very distinct, the energies of I felt both the work, the masculine work feel energy. It was just energy that I felt in the first part of the dream, and then the second part was, there was this feminine, like, I just felt like a lot of feminine energy. But that's what got triggered in me. Just the conflicting, the internal challenge with that. Yeah, that's all. Just wanted to share that.
Hi, my name is Yubi, and in case you haven't figured it out, this footage is capturing my experience as I learn to navigate my personal spiritual awakening. I am learning that this experience is unique to each one of us. In whatever way we believe we are embracing living our truth, this just happens to be my journey. And despite me having a graduate degree and a license in clinical social work, this by no means is intended to replace any type of mental health advice. This is just me on a personal level, documenting my experience, shedding light on the truth that I am learning and discovering for myself, and really inviting you along for the ride. If by some magical chance you find this content to be helpful in any way, shape, or form, please click the like button, share the message, subscribe to my YouTube channel. I have an Instagram account, a personal one, and one specifically for this channel that you're more than welcome to check out. I'm an open book. I have also created t-shirt designs. I'm wearing my favorite one right now, which is the North Node design, but I have that and other things that you can look at inspired by this process and journey, and I have the link in the description box as well as in the about section of my YouTube channel. So you're more than welcome to check those items out. Any type of support is great. Again, if you find this content really helpful or meaningful, sometimes when we take that step and be vulnerable, with showing what's inside our hearts and what's really our truth, we realize that we're much more connected than what we thought we were. And so I hope that as I'm living this experience, and that you find some type of truth for yourself, or find some type of ability to heal in some way just by relating, just by knowing that you're not alone. That really has been my goal with this process, not just being able to connect with others, but really for my own healing. It's definitely been a therapeutic experience and a very creative one for myself. So I thank you, and I wish you all the best, and we'll see what else comes next for me. So take